We are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of GeekCypha here on Free X Agents Media.
Yo, what's up?
That's FXA Media for the uninitiated. We're also over on Twitch, twitch.tv/GeekCypha. And yeah, guys, it's May, which is crazy. I am happy that the Timberlake memes will stop because
there's more than Timberlake. Someone made a trifecta. Would you like to hear the trifecta?
Yes, please hit me with the trifecta, good sir.
So there's 3 other songs that you would hit up in there. Hold on a second, I just got to get the wait. I think I saved it actually. Yes, I did. So it's going to be May.
Yeah.
And then there's Everything You Say to May.
Oh God. Okay.
And then there's also Something Takes a Part of May.
Oh God.
Corn.
None of these are good.
Yeah.
Every one of those.
No for me.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be May. I mean, if everyone's just cramming it, I think like my favorite of those meta memes is just Homer in the lesbian bar.
Okay.
And he's not realizing it's a lesbian bar. He's just looking around. You know that meme where he's just in the bar and it's just everybody's the thing.
Oh yes, and they
Meme
put
of the moment.
like when it was Barbenheimer and they were like Halloween 2024 or whatever. It's just like, or 2023. They just kept putting all the different, like it was just everyone dressed as Barbie or Oppenheimer, and then him just sitting there dressed as whatever he was going to be.
Just as him, just being himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this one was just like all the memes of it's going to be May all over him, and he's just like sitting there at the bar.
Lord save us. Homer Simpson, what is your life?
Well, we're only 3 days away from the 4th.
Yes. Oh, so hold on.
So the next one that's coming up.
My beard, coming out my beard. We got I got a request at work for an all Star Wars playlist. I can't say who the client is, which is unfortunate.
That's so
I'm
cool.
not allowed. I'm not.
So just all day it's gonna be.
Well, so funny enough, on the 2nd and the 3rd, at the top of the hour for about 20 minutes, it's going to be Star Wars music on the 2nd and 3rd. So at the top of the hour, it'll start playing all those different like random Star Wars tracks, Rebels, Clone Wars, all 9 movies, Rogue One, a solo movie, Ahsoka, Mandalorian.
Can I make a suggestion?
Well, it's already programmed. So
yeah. Okay, I was gonna say don't play the intro for the New Hope because that's too startling.
The one that goes like that kicks off.
Yeah, it's just like
that's one of the most recognizable ones.
The first Star Wars movie because it's just it hits you really hard. So if you're just shopping, like
that's in there. It's
then
one of the most recognizable. It's one of the most recognizable Star Wars tracks.
I'm just saying, like, suppose someone's holding up something very fragile, and then it just and you're like, it just gets startled.
Well, it's okay. I can say one thing. It's a cell phone company, so.
Okay.
They're holding floor models that are tied down.
Okay,
that's crazy.
Good.
If that puts you in
the product, because I don't want someone to hold something, destroy it, and they have to pay for that. That's
no.
Just because
that's cool though. I like that the client wants to do that. That's really cool.
I was really excited. They asked me a little last minute, which was unfortunate because usually they ask a little earlier. No, actually, this client's really good. It was just they had a meeting, and I guess someone in the office was just like, "Hey, it's May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th," and supposedly everyone else in the office was like, "What?" And then it turned into them all saying like, "Oh, we should do a playlist for this," and that turned into, "Brian, do you think you could make a playlist for this in the week and a half?" And I was just like, "Sure, I can." I was wearing my Stormtrooper cap the day I got the message too, so I was kind of like,
"What?"
It was. Yeah, I literally wrote that to them. I was just like, "This feels like it was meant to be. You're asking me to do something that is right up my alley."
That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It's programmed. It's all done. It's all set up. I'm really excited for people to hear it. Unfortunately, I again can't tell people where it is. But if you're looking for a cell phone,
just leave it.
If you're looking for a cell phone, kudos to you.
I'm not a lawyer. Do I have to tell you I'm not a lawyer? But I suggest you stop.
If you're looking for a cell phone, go to a mobile store.
Yeah,
there you go.
But yeah. Just walk into every mobile store in all the malls until you hear Star Wars music, and you'll know which one it is, because you'll be like, "Oh, this is Brian's playlist." Speaking of Star Wars, has anyone been watching The Bad Batch?
Nope.
No, okay, me neither.
I
just wanted to know. I just wanted to know if I was the only one who stopped caring about Star Wars stuff. Unfortunate, because
it's just so much. I can't
Yes.
keep up. I just
Dude.
no, I can't.
I never cared.
I mean, I kind of care, and I'm happy that they're not focusing on the Skywalker lineage, on the Jedis, specifically the main people from all the movies that we've had. Like, just they're doing others, like in a galaxy far, far away, only 4 people matter, you know. Like,
for years they've been doing that. And even we recently, it was kind of kismet that it happened, but the episode that played this Saturday on the archive on Twitch, as I mentioned before, twitch.tv/GeekCypha, we run an episode every Saturday at 11 a.m. And the episode that ran was "The Greys and the Summers are the Skywalkers of the X-verse." And it's a commentary on the fact that everything in the X-Men universe focuses on the Grey family or the Summers family, the same way that it focuses on the Skywalker family over on Star Wars. And at some point you start to say, it's and this is something that, you know, and I'll say it this way, Marvel, as much as they screwed up some of their stuff, at least what we're covering multiple characters with all their storytelling. Whereas Star Wars always focused on the Skywalker family, the X-Men, primary X-Men franchise focuses a lot on the Summers and the Grey and their connection to like time travel, Cable, Hope. Like, it's a lot, like, you know, of all the people who could have a child that would survive or come back after, you know, Scarlet Witch said no more mutants and got rid of mutant kind. Of course, it had to be Hope Summers. It was another Summers. Now, technically, if I'm not mistaken, that child is adopted by Cable. So I unfortunately, our 2 major X-Men geeks aren't here right now. But if I'm not mistaken, that child might have been adopted by Cable and isn't actually a Summers. But ultimately, the story is still Cable taking care of this child, and the child's name being Hope Summers, and it's another Summers story, and it continues. And that's something that I always found a little unfortunate when they came to some of these franchises, these IPs, especially Star Wars, because for Star Wars, you have an entire, in a galaxy far, far away. It's a fucking galaxy. You don't only have to talk about one family, or in the end, 2 families, the Palpatines and the Skywalkers. Like, that's such a boring thing to me. So I'm a little disappointed that they took that path for so many years.
I also find it sad that, you know, they have all this extended universe stuff that is like, well, let's put it in the vault. It's Legends. Like, I mean, it still counts, but it'd be Legends, and if we want to pull from it, we will. But right now we're focusing on Skywalkers. Hey, look, Leia has, you know, Jedi powers, huh?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Remember that thing that Rian Johnson was trying to allude to, which is just anybody could kind of be sensitive. Screw that. Skywalker, specifically Skywalker.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was unfortunate. And I know that they had made some decisions and changed some things because of who was taking over the project. Because the dude who was supposed to do the last Star Wars movie, the 9th one, was the same guy that directed the Fantastic Four, and then because that movie went tits up, they didn't want to work with him or something. I think I could be wrong.
I didn't know he came back in people's good graces, so
I'll look it up.
I don't know,
but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. If I'm not mistaken, you had JJ who did the first one, Rian Johnson did the second one, and then this dude was supposed to do the third one. His didn't work out. They got JJ to come back and finish off the trilogy. So ultimately, you had the guy who did the first movie, who probably had his own ideas, and there was a reason you were going to have 3 different directors take on the mantle. And then he comes back and he's just like, you know what, guys? I think I'm going to stick to this idea that I had about how the story was supposed to work. And it's just like,
well, from my understanding, that Rain just went in a very different direction, and he expanded what was going on. It's like, hey, there's actual people that are funding this. There's people making money off of this war, and they fund both sides of the war. Hey, the main character, Rey, her genealogy does not matter. Doesn't matter
at all.
Anybody could be force sensitive, and everyone's like, no, this is straying too far. make it go back, and it's like, why?
But then it was
already
still
have the first trilogy. We don't need to go back.
But then it was a bad movie. Like that's ultimately, in my opinion,
I don't know. I liked the second one personally because it was just so different. I was like, yes, and then the fact that you have the main villain literally telling the main character and in turn telling the audience, forget the past, let it burn, let's do something different.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, we don't want to. And it's just like, oh, here we go.
George Lucas, I mean,
yeah, he tried to do something different.
Yeah.
I think in hindsight, we all look back and we're like, oh, what if we just let him do what he wanted?
Yeah. And I mean, those prequels, though, I know people like to look back on them now and they're like, oh, those prequels weren't as bad as we all thought. I still don't think they're that good.
You know what always got me about that?
What?
It was people getting mad at the creator of how he did the shit he created.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but that's always going to be.
I get it, but it's like if my franchise or anything I think of gets to the popular where you're trying to tell me and I got you addicted to my crack, I'm taking it. I'm taking my ball and going home. Sorry. Everything
or do what he did, sell the ball for billions of dollars and then stop dealing with all the angry nerds. Because that to me, I agree with you.
I think he still has opinions.
Yeah,
I remember he still has opinions about stuff, but it's not his ball to touch.
Exactly.
I'm too much of a purist to sell my ball like that. Like I'd create a lesser ball. I'd you know what homeboy Zack Snyder did with his thing?
All those horrible movies? Yes.
Yeah, I'd make one of those and be like, this is good here.
No, but he's been trying.
That was bad movie.
He's been trying to make movies though. Like I mean, he made Red Tail, he made Epic, and it's just Are
you talking about Lucas or
Lucas specifically?
Oh, sorry. So Lucas, he's been trying to make other movies.
He's been doing other stuff. Other like the movies before Star Wars was what American Graffiti, THX,
yes. Yeah, those ones I remember.
And then he did this Star Wars, and then after the prequels, he did Red Tails, which is the Tuskegee Airmen, but with a bigger budget.
Right.
And that didn't do too well because I guess I mean. He's still kind of doing his way of filmmaking, which is like from
the
70s kind of style.
Because he was mimicking the serials that he grew up with
exactly.
In the 70s. Yeah.
And then I think he had another one called Epic, which was an animated movie, and apparently it's not bad. It's good, but it's just again people weren't clamoring to see something different and new, and
I mean,
I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough to try to.
You know what? That's one thing. That's one thing I will give credit, and it's a conversation I've heard people have a lot of times. And anytime people kind of, I want to say poo-poo, but that seems childish. Anytime someone shits on a franchise, I was trying to keep it clean, guys, but we're 13 minutes in. Okay, yeah. Anytime someone doo-doos on a franchise, on an IP, there are a lot of people who say, just think about the fact of how insanely difficult it is to get a film on screen in front of people to watch. And I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. When I listen to a bunch of podcasts about making films, I listen to people talk about their process and all the things they have to do to try and get films, try and get funding, try and get actors, rework a script, rework while you're on the movie runs too long. You have to edit things. Your location is shut down for some reason. You have to find a new location. All of those factors come into play and cause your film to be delayed, changed, or have to adjust. And for you to finally get it to the screen and people sit there and go, well, this sucks. Painful.
Yeah.
It's true. But
here we go. All right.
Well, because all things aside, like all of that aside, it comes down to, can you make a good movie? Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it.
No participation awards?
No participation awards. No.
I mean, you can make a good movie, but no one comes to see it.
That too.
That's the thing. That too.
It's tough. And it's not like how it was before, where there was no internet and there's no,
But that's different. I think that's a different issue. That I blame like Hollywood for that. That's just a different. I think it's just a different battle that filmmakers are facing. But making a good movie, I think. I don't know. It just comes down to how, I guess, whether your team is a good team and how you execute it, how you plan, how you organize. No one's saying it's easy, but
do you think? I asked this question to the crew, to the panel. Do you think when people are making these films that they always genuinely think at some point, man, this is great, and then when the people react poorly, it's just like, but when we watched it, we loved it. What's the disconnect? Like, what happens when you get something like Scargiver by Zack Snyder, or you get what's a movie that everyone thought was going to be fantastic, and when it hit theaters, people were just like, oh, this wasn't anywhere near as good as we expected.
I mean,
That
there's
Secret
a
Agent
couple
one that
of
just came out.
Which one?
Argyle.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's a perfect example. A bunch of executives watched that. Apple paid through the nose to get it so that they could have the exclusive streaming rights. It goes into theaters. It goes onto the streaming platform. No one cares. But everyone who watched it at the time said Cavill's great. What's her name?
John Cena.
Cena's funny in it. Dallas is good in it. Rockwell's great. Sam Jackson does his usual solid performance stuff. So sorry, Ness, I just saw you raise.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I have a feeling it has to do with the people watching it before it comes out. It's not the average Joe. Like,
okay,
it's people in Hollywood. It's people who are producing the film. It's people who have money in it. Like, it's I don't think they understand what the audience
I
really wants.
I should check if there was a test screening for Argyle, because that's the other thing. I feel sometimes when you hear the stories of test screenings, I hear stories sometimes about test screenings and the test screening is positive, and then I see the movie and I'm like, what audience did you go to that loved this movie? Because
That's
don't
the
see
thing.
it.
Good point, actually, because I have a lot of friends who work in VFX, and they do a lot of test screenings before the movies are finished and released. And a lot of it is like ass kissing, because listen, this is just things I've heard when it comes to VFX, though. I'm not talking about all movies, but friends who work in VFX, they've said that it could be a shit movie or a shit scene, and people are praising it because they're kissing ass. And I think there's a lot of kissing ass in Hollywood.
When you say people, do you mean people in the industry are kissing ass, or is it that because this audience was brought in for the test screening, they feel a sense of, oh, we have to say we like it, or they won't let us come back for free?
Oh, sorry, I didn't clarify. Their test screenings are not with like the public. Their screenings
so private
are with
test screenings.
Yeah, private test screenings with the employees who do the VFX for the movies.
So it's with the client, more or less, because from that I've been on this angle too, and I can agree we're more or less ass kissing, because
and you're saying ass kissing as in you want to maintain the relationship with them, so you don't want to necessarily offend them by saying, oh, some of this scene is great, even though you guys are like this, because it's true. So I have a buddy who worked on not Days of Future Past. What's the one with Sophie Turner who turns into Phoenix? Oh, Dark Phoenix,
Dark
right?
Phoenix, yeah, Dark Phoenix.
Sorry, it's just they did Dark Phoenix twice, so I never remember which one. You should not have done Dark Phoenix twice already. Anyways, but
no, we really want to do it. We really want to bring this and do it justice.
Yeah. So we do it even worse the second time. So you did Dark Phoenix. So a buddy of mine was working on that movie, and he said that, like, when the trailer came out and people kind of had weird reactions to it, he's just like, yep, knew that was coming. And I was like, oh, really? He's just like, yeah, man, between me and you, we all in the office, first of all, they completely changed the story. You guys remember how the version that we heard, they were supposed to do some alien thing. They started cutting stuff out, changing all this stuff at the last second. They reworked the movie. The Kree might have been there. They couldn't get the Kree afterwards. So he's telling me the version that he watched with like gravity change, people who could change gravity in spaces and do all these things, all got cut. They reworked all this stuff to make the movie work with what they had. And then the trailer came and people complained, and he was just like, of course, because they butchered the story based on what they told us we were working on and what they've released.
So remember the first Sonic movie, when that first trailer dropped, and how he looked with the weird teeth.
Oh yeah.
They made fun of that in Chip and Dale's, which was hilarious.
And then they had to rechange Sonic to make him look more like what people see him in the video games.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That took down a whole
studio.
That took down a whole studio.
Yeah. And okay, I've heard people say that when they say it took down the studio So I've listened to something. Let me ask something real quick. I heard recently that the way it works with some of these studios is you bid.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. Yeah.
Right. So these guys bid on the project, did the work that they were requested to do, did it per the requirements and the request that they got. A bunch of people approved it. Trailer comes out, everyone hates it. But because they had already bid, they had to do all that work, redo the work for free.
Yeah,
Why did they have to do it for free though? Didn't they?
Because you
meet
bid
their contract already.
No, you bid on a certain amount of scenes. But the thing is, it's Hollywood and everyone's bidding for these scenes. So say it's Sonic and it's Hot Topic. Niggas are going to be like, yo, we could do 89 scenes for dick money, for nothing, which is really bad for the VFX artists because they're like, well, no, this doesn't cover our overtime or nothing. And you want to pay us what to do? How many hours? No. So then when they turn out what they turn out and it's a per to contract and then they get the reaction they get, then the studio is like, well, dog.
It kind of flows into what Ness was saying, where you look at it and you're like, this looks terrible. Why did you tell us this is the design you're going for?
Right.
You can't tell them,
right?
Because they're the ones with the check.
And they're the ones paying you because they haven't paid you.
Court of public opinion, and they're like, ew, we are not paying money to see this.
That's so sad. So a full studio is dead because
then they'll turn around and be like, well, why didn't you tell us this was shit? They'll be like, yo, because you hadn't given us a check yet. Like, what are you talking about? And they'll be like, well, and then that's it.
We only get paid until services is rendered and stuff is sent, completed, and done.
Yo, honestly,
but in their defense, though, I know a lot of production companies are assholes and put a lot of pressure to have things done by a certain deadline. It's possible that the studio pushed back and said, listen, it doesn't look great, but this is what we have. Do you want to use it? And the studio could have been like, yeah, we have deadlines. We need to release the trailer, so we're just going to use it. And then it got so much backlash that they said, sorry, you guys need to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could happen too.
Yeah.
I remember when Infinity Wars was dropping and I had just started working in the VFX industry and I was setting up PCs and they're like, yo, listen, we need 50 computers dropped on this floor. I'm like, for what? And like a week later, they're like, Avengers is moving up like a month. I saw Tony with Doctor Strange's cape on. I saw that shit. Legit. That was a scene that they deleted, but that was like a fully rendered scene that was going to be in it. Doctor Strange and Tony switched. That was a whole thing. And then whoop, gone. Like, but they brought like the money. Like it was like, we're doing this.
That's the thing. Yeah. And there's scenes that the studios work on and then they show it to the client and the client's like, nope, we're taking it out. And it's like they spend all this time like and energy and money, and then the client's like, no, we don't want it.
And you know, you have to remember it's a whole big machine. So the clients have the date they said it's going to come out with. That's going to run with getting the word out and
marketing and all that.
So like I remember when I used to work for IDOS Montreal, and what was it? We were working on Final Fantasy 15, I want to say. Okay, so it was it was one that was stuck in development hell for a bit, just for a while. That's and 15. Like it's the four guys and everyone makes fun of it's like the road trip one basically. Yeah. So basically that missed its release date. So then the big manager of all QA came by and he's like, hey, I got some free stuff. Here's some masks from the game because that release date didn't happen. So here's all the marketing stuff that would have come out on that date. It's useless now. It says the date, the old date on it. So yeah, just free here.
Yeah, the studios just a lot of them don't have say about anything. They just have to shut up and work.
A lot of them bid really low too, like stupid low.
So I mean, like that's why something
they want the experience.
That's why something like was Godzilla -1 worked super well because the director, the writer, and the VFX soup was all the same dude.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, that's gonna.
That
work
was
like
all
butter.
The same guy. He knew what he wanted. He knew how to do it. He understood, and he's working directly with the VFX guys.
Yeah,
it was a small team. They didn't have a lot of money, and usually Japanese VFX ain't great. At least from what I remember.
I mean, it wasn't wow, but it was a classic. It was a classic type of movie for sure.
But it's just like they knew what they were doing, and that movie compared to Godzilla X Kong, New Empire.
Yeah.
Like that movie focuses on the actual monsters, and you see more of the monsters, less humans talking and all that. This
Right.
movie
Mhm.
focuses on people, and Godzilla is the disaster they're just reacting to and trying to figure out their crap, which tells a more human story and a better told one, and it
Yeah.
got the Oscar for best VFX. So, which
That is a human story. Ain't nobody care about that giant lizard, man. I'm trying
but
to
a lot of times people are like, I want the lizard.
I'm trying to talk about the
Everyone's
dude who
I
works
want
in
the lizard.
Tulsa.
I want
You're
two
trying to get to work
monsters
that
doing
day.
WWF moves, Canadian destroyer.
Destroyers
Give
and
it to
shit?
me.
Nah, man. I'm trying to hear about homie who's a cab driver who's like, oh, taking this bridge. Like, I want to know about his day. That's my day.
So what you're describing is Monarch then, because Monarch. I don't know if anyone's watched that show. I'll talk about it real quick because that almost felt like a natural segue. Monarch is the show set in the Godzilla universe that they mention in the last Godzilla and King Kong New Empire, but completely don't connect them to the things happening in the Apple series, which made no sense to me as a fan of the series, because that show is doing so much, and the show is linked because John Goodman's character that you've seen in the what
Skull Island?
Skull Island, thank you. John Goodman's character that you see in Skull Island is played by homeboy from Workaholics.
Nice.
Yeah.
W1.
Yeah, and also from Champions, Mindy Kaling's show Champion, where he plays the dad. I can't remember that guy's
Gable. Yeah.
Delight? What's his name?
Anson something, maybe something like that.
Mind.
Anyways, we'll find it in a second. But that dude plays John Goodman's character in the past with Wyatt Russell playing Kurt Russell in the past, and they're doing all this like throwback stuff, and it's great. But then when I went to see this movie, and I was just like, all right, Monarch. And they mentioned Monarch, and there's a bunch of stuff that's happened in the show that I expect to see referenced in the movie. Nothing is referenced. And I was just like,
nothing.
But I assume that Monarch paid for the ship, paid for the thing and all that. Like, I thought that's all Monarch.
Well, right. But in the TV show, Monarch has so much infighting that at one point it kind of divides into sex. And Dave is having a partay over there.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Something just fell.
Monarch is having like infighting, and they have these sects that are starting to form, and one of the sects starts to partner up with this security agency that's run by the woman who stars in Expanse. I really need to find all these actors' names. I'm sorry, y'all. But so she's like running some secret organization that is now working with the sect of Monarch that essentially wants to, like, I guess, take over the world. They seem to be doing some weird shit that, like, they're manipulating the Titans and trying to take advantage of the Titans' power and setting things up and putting things into play. And then you get to Godzilla and Kong in New Empire, and now it's just like, all right, this is gonna be great because all the Titans have been manipulated and these guys have been doing this stuff. And instead, nothing to go so. You don't see any of it. You're just watching it and you're just like, okay, so everything I spent 10 hours watching on that 10 episode miniseries means nothing. Thank you. That makes me feel. I honestly watched that show because I expected it to connect to the movies. That was the whole.
Was it a good show on its own, though?
Fantastic. You're right.
I'm glad to hear that you're watching something that was good and that you liked it. I'm after all these L's in the movie theater that you're paying money for, I am so happy to hear, like, you know what?
I don't pay
really
for
like
them.
this, and I'm disappointed that they didn't connect it to this other thing that I thought was okay. And how dare they? But at least it's not time wasted. That's what I want to hear from you.
You know what, though? I'll say this, because as much as we make fun of me for going to these movies that I ultimately hate,
are bad.
I know are going to be bad. I actually still don't feel like I wasted my time watching any of them because I genuinely just like movies.
No, it's still entertainment.
The only one I ever felt like I wasted my time with was Shazam. That
you hate that so much.
Money back.
Which one?
The first one?
Yes. I want my
Why?
money back.
Whoa! You're trying to suggest the first one was worse than the second?
I prefer the second one to the first one only because Lucy Liu is in it and I like her.
Why did you even say Helen Mirren, you jerk?
Nah, Helen Mirren's dope and she's sexy.
I'm sorry. That we'll fight on that one another day. That is not that.
Are you gonna argue that those are good movies?
No, I'm
Yeah,
arguing.
exactly.
I'm arguing that the first is better than the second.
We're fighting a losing battle. We both watch bad movies, and we'd be fighting how bad each bad movie was.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was bad.
That's fine. Ness, would you like to give me reasons why the first?
Please, Ness, no, it's a trap.
You know why people have superhero fatigue? Because they'd be watching DC movies.
Trap, please. I don't want to go down that route again.
I wasn't trying to argue, okay? I was just saying I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It's homework done, girl. Just don't.
I'm just saying I enjoyed it.
No, it's a trap.
I'm allowed to enjoy a movie.
Of course, she's allowed to enjoy it. She's allowed to enjoy bad movies.
Exactly.
The same way that we. Yeah. I'm just happy you already acknowledge it's a bad movie.
Well, I'm not saying it's a. I'm not calling it a critically acclaimed movie. It's just
that's fair. That's fair.
Maybe it's because I went into it with really low expectations, and I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. But I actually enjoyed it.
The DC universe coming with low expectations, not as bad as
that actually is how I watch DC movies. I always assume that they're going to be shit.
Honestly,
every single time.
James Gunn.
We said that for Aquaman 2 Lost Kingdom.
Oh my god.
I went into it with low expectations.
Yeah. Honestly, James Gunn I like what James Gunn is doing because James Gunn is still hyping up the movie, but it's also set in a world where we have to have realistic expectations that he has to restart this whole thing because they did up so bad before. Like, essentially what he's doing is your neighbor bought and built a playground in the backyard for his kids. And he built it so poorly that it fell over. And you came along and the wife said, "Can you actually rebuild this for me, please?" And you have to come in and rebuild this jungle gym for the kids so they don't die when they swing or slide. They go down the slide and somehow fly through the window in the living room. This is what James Gunn has to do. But this wife, her expectations are so low because all she needs is a slide at this point. She doesn't even want the swing. She's just like, just make the slide. Just make it that when they do this simple thing, they go from the top and get to the bottom and don't hurt themselves. And that's all that the Superman franchise has to do. It just has to be a fun ride. And when we get off at the end, we all go, well, that was at least what I expected. A Superman story.
I feel the analogy.
Don't you be my wife asking no other man to make you a slide. Yeah.
I feel like
Skinny, these cookies are wonderful. Put that cookie down.
Yeah, man.
Poison.
Get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, man. Let me catch some dude trying to come over and rebuild my jungle gym. If you don't get the fuck out of my house.
Isn't that Warner Brothers and Snyder? James Gunn is the new.
Is. That's why if I was Snyder, I'd be throwing all sorts of Hail Mary lookalike cast superheroes at the same time. What do you mean? You're coming out with the Flash movie? Here comes Zoom. Or not even Zoom, fucking Blink. I just think of really bad names. Speedster Man. Like, I would do the worst. Oh my god.
I mean, he's already proven when he does something like that, he can't do it because he did the Star Wars one, and that was Rebel Moon is horrible.
I would straight up fucking the worst B class. I would take like Otherworld dude, like Owlman and them niggas. They would get oh my god.
He would go back to the Watchmen world and be like, you know what, motherfuckers, you want to do DCEU? I'm gonna redo it over here with the Watchmen.
Yeah.
No. I think if it was
so funny.
Come get some
Snyder,
of this Black Superman.
Snyder's good with just doing the exact same thing. I'm gonna put the comic book on the screen.
Yeah.
Aren't you gonna say something about it? Aren't you gonna change it up? Aren't you gonna? Nope. This is the storyboard, 100%. Nothing was learned.
But then he still doesn't execute it well.
Nothing was learned.
Yeah,
terrible.
So yeah,
oh, God, man.
Anyways, don't get me started on Zack Snyder.
Yeah, but you know what? Shout out to Lee J because he did point it out, and I was going to mention it later on, but he's right. We should probably mention it at the top. For those of you who don't know, this Star Wars May 4th. May the 4th be with you, is also free comic book day. So if you're a fan of comic books and you want to get some free comic books, a free comic book day is always a explore and discover new titles. They always have a lot of cool stuff. Most of the comic book shops that I go to on free comic book day also have specials in the shops to kind of draw people in. Well, I mean, the free comic books is what draws you in, but there's also other things that they're going to be selling that will make it worth your while to like come and kick it and hang out in that space. So I mean, I tend to go to Crossover Comics here in Montreal. I also go to Comico, which is now on Côte des Neiges. and there's a bunch of other comic book shops all over the city. So if you guys are comic book fans, and if I'm not mistaken, let me double check real quick. Free Comic Book Day, is it .com? Yeah, freecomicbookday.com also has a find a shop section that will help you find your closest local shop so that you can go check out what's available. And they also have the list of which comic books are going to be out for Free Comic Book Day. But you know what? It's always fun to just go and discover.
My jackass be going in there and be like, all right, I picked this one. And they'd be like, that's not how it works. This one.
yeah.
I want this one.
There is a nice Transformers one. 2024 Energon's Universe Special.
Sir, you can't have Secret Wars #1. What do you mean?
There's supposed to be a good Turtles one, I believe, as well.
Yes. The Turtles one is going to be a hard one to get because people are like,
sir, you can't have the Last Ronin #1.
yeah.
What do you mean? It's free. What do you mean, sir?
The Turtle one is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Bundle of 20. This is a gold standard. So one of the things that's kind of cool about Free Comic Book Day is that it's divided into tiers. There's gold, silver, and there's only gold and silver. There's no bronze, like I thought.
That's
but
right. You shouldn't be.
You know what? No bronze, like we said. That is fantastic.
This episode is fueled by Haterade.
I'm drinking some right now.
No, man, I'm actually kind of with the lack of bronze thing. I was watching. I saw an episode of Bluey, and they were playing this game called Pass the Parcel or something, and it was more or less like in the original version. All the kids got a gift, and then there's one dog, because Bluey's about dogs, and this one dog was like, nah, that ain't it. So when it was his kid's birthday, he fixed it so there's like one present, and all the kids were in shock. And then eventually they kept doing it through the other, like through months throughout parties, and eventually like his cutthroat rule became like the standard for the kids, and they all learned to just accept not getting a gift. It was pretty dope.
So
that's good.
So Bluey is trying to teach kids that not everyone needs a trophy.
Not everyone gets
Bluey
gifts.
did that, yeah.
Okay.
Bluey.
Was that for a birthday, or is that just?
Yeah, for a birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember back in the day. There was a girl, and I guess she was the younger sister. So you would go for that girl's birthday, but you had to give the younger sister a gift.
Yeah.
Or else she would lose her mind, kind of thing.
I mean, I'll comment on that because I have a younger sister. Her birthday is 26 days later than mine. And when we were kids and we would do parties, my sister has special needs. So she went to a different school. And and she started going to her school like 2 years after I had started going to like kindergarten and like grade 1. So I had friends, but she hadn't started going to school. So she didn't really have like friends like that yet. So when I did my party, my parents put the party for both of us together, and it was mostly like my friends and then like family friend kids who all came. And I was the brother who was just like, y'all better bring a gift for my sister. Like I was like,
different.
My sister needs to get the hookup too. What did you drink?
That's a little bit different from mine because it's just that their birthdays were apart. And
they weren't in the same.
I don't think so. So it's just like
you guys are celebrating at the same time. That makes sense.
That's okay. Sorry, I thought you were saying they were celebrating at the same time.
No,
and you were like,
no.
One was different,
but it's just the younger sister was seeing her older sister getting gifts and be like, "Yo, what the that's not fair."
Okay. So I have another story for you then.
That used to happen
real quick, I'll just jump in because I gotta go do something and come back. But
okay.
When you're at a birthday party, this happened to me. Lonnie's first birthday. You're opening presents. Your kid's opening presents, and somebody else's kid who doesn't have any brought-upsy be coming over and opening your kid's gifts. And the parents don't be telling them to stop that shit. That is fucked. But go on. I'll be right back.
I would put my mom in that situation and watch my mom look at my mom. Nice. Hey, is it your birthday? Who's getting? Is that your? That's your name. Oh, that's not your name. Hey, can you tell your mom? You tell her. I ain't telling my mom nothing. You tell my mom. You go ahead and tell. You tell this woman to tell this kid to not open up her grandchild's gifts. You go ahead. You go ahead.
My ex-girlfriend, her parents spoiled the younger sister. So my ex-girlfriend's birthday was in December, and her sister's birthday is like in the summer. But anytime they had a birthday for my ex-girlfriend, they would let the sister open half the gifts, because if she didn't get to open any of the gifts, she would throw a tantrum and would be upset. And my ex-girlfriend,
or like an
as
adult?
a kid, but no, as a kid, but this led her to be one of the worst people you've ever met, because she continued to have that entitlement throughout her whole life because the parents never structured her. So, for example, and I think I might have told this story on the podcast before, but my ex had to get ready for a job interview. The sister got mad that she was in the bathroom for a long time. When she came out of the bathroom in her outfit for the job interview, her sister sprayed her with hairspray and messed up her outfit before she had to leave, making it that she had to change so that she was late for the interview.
Wow.
I can't even.
That's wild. What's with people being? I don't understand.
But that's what I'm saying. The
parents, scenarios I don't understand, because I feel like I've been in birthdays where
Dave, 100%, the parents did not raise the younger sister well. Even my ex would say my parents did a bad job raising my sister because they just let her do whatever she wanted to do because she was the youngest one and they didn't want to deal with the tantrums. So she just did what she wanted to do and grew up into the type of person who felt she had the right to spray someone with hairspray. Not even just your sister. Who on earth do you think you are? You just spray someone with hairspray because you're upset.
But like at that point, there has to be a certain period of time where there's a certain, like, because like tantrums is one thing, right? Like that, I could understand the concept that it's hard to deal with, like, we'll call it terrible twos, if you will, right? Like just to summate that period of time in raising a child. But like there's a period of time afterwards where the kid understands English. And at that point in time, it's like, you know, because I'm sorry, like if I was a parent, I'm like, look, I'm not saying I would do exactly this, but I'd find some type of equivalency to be like, if anything, I just grab it, be like I just do it right back. I'd be like,
you're gonna spray the kid with the water bottle.
Dude, sometimes I hate to say it, but like sometimes in extreme, I'm talking about extreme scenarios, right? I'm not talking about like when a kid's just
you're saying essentially it makes sense to show them what's happening.
Yeah,
as opposed to just explaining.
It's like,
and I just want to caveat this because I don't want Dave to look like he's going to be a bad father.
Yeah.
He's saying he would spray them with something like water. He's not going to spray a child with hairspray for you angry people who are already taking notes.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not saying that he's going to cut some, some hot peppers and then rub it in his kid's eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not taking this bar of soap and shoving it in their mouth and making them chew, right? Like,
right.
But I'm saying, like, for example, I'll give it like a metaphor like I've seen with like pets and stuff.
Okay. I just want to preface. You are now gonna create a scenario in which you describe something you want to do with a child and relate.
No. You'll let me get through the explanation.
Okay. I just wanted to preface it because I felt like a dangerous road.
I'll explain the logic of why I'm saying to do what I'm saying.
Okay.
When you have a pet that is a single pet, they might get nippy, right?
Yeah.
The second you end up installing another pet, like example, let's say you have a cat and that cat starts nipping.
Oh Lord!
You're never gonna bite that cat. Like that's ridiculous.
Right.
But if you get another cat and that cat bites that other cat, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it hurts when I do that. So you're trying to create a scenario for the child to be like, you did something wrong. Let's try and find an equivalency that's not, outside of horrible parenting.
Yes.
Child feel the same.
I get what you're saying. I don't think it's that black and white because
I'm not saying it's that black and white. And again, I'm not a parent yet, and maybe I will never be. Maybe it'll be taken away from me. I don't know. But like, I'm just saying, like,
maybe it'll get taken away from me.
But I would be like, I feel like I'd be the type of parent that would be like, or at least sit them down and be like, how would you feel if this happened to you?
But that's the thing. They don't see it that way. It's not something.
I think
like. I don't want to.
If anything, I want to ask Skinny afterwards because he's the only one with kids here.
Exactly.
What's up? I'm here. I'm just listening.
Wait.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I have a younger sister, who was the spoiled one, and was raised differently, was brought up differently to me. Because we're a decade apart.
Okay.
So. I know what this
quite
is
plainly.
like,
did you get licks and did she not?
Right.
Definitely.
Okay, that's it. Okay, there you
go.
But it's not just that. It's just like there's been tantrums, and it's like it's not that simple to just do the same thing back, and then she understands. Like it's not that plain. Unfortunately, I think it takes a lot more, not just discipline or punishment, but it's just you need to be consistent with what you're doing. It can't
Yeah.
just be, oh, you hit me, so I'm hitting you back, and now you're gonna learn. Like now you're gonna see, oh, it hurts to hit someone.
Skinny, can I ask? Because here's how because you guys know me, I'm very logical, almost to a fault, and Skinny disappeared.
Aw.
All right, well, okay,
I'm here, but yeah, I got a hold. So
yeah. So
I'm here.
I'm thinking, if I had a kid, I think what I would make them do, which I feel would almost ruin their interest in writing ever again. But anytime they do something that, like, for example, throw a tantrum that leads to like spraying someone, I would unfortunately make them sit down and just write it out. Even when they're first learning to write, I would
Like
make
doing
them,
lines.
yeah, not doing lines.
Well,
I'm not gonna
writing lines. We're writing
I'm
lines.
not making them write lines. I'm not making them write 500 times. I will not punch my sister in the face, or I will
Yo,
not.
I have PTSD from doing lines.
But I would ask them.
Writing.
I would ask them. You have to write down. You have to explain to me why you did what you did.
And what if they refuse?
I'll
Well,
wait.
I'll wait. Exactly. What do you mean?
I know
no,
you go to say
What does
I'm old
refuse
as
mean?
shit.
Does refuse mean they're just not going to do it because there's a lot
Yeah.
of things? Okay, that's
Bro.
fine, but then you're not watching TV and stuff. Like you're not
No,
going to.
no, my G. You don't understand the standoff when it starts interfering with your life.
Exactly. That
Skinny.
too.
I know. I'm not a parent, but you've seen how stubborn I can be. And
No.
I have.
But
Even when I have
understand creating something with your stubborn. Nigga, you can't defeat that. That's you.
Oh no, I can.
Yeah, it's a mirror match, man.
Bro, like that's
I
you.
look
Like you can't
forward to the
defeat
mirror
that.
match.
Plus whatever
They
your partner has
choose.
in terms of like stubbornness and other dexterities that can defeat you. Because keep in mind, you're with your partner, you guys butt heads. But whatever you guys butt heads on, it might turn you on afterwards, blah, blah, blah. But if you guys were to have a kid, that's her logic, your logic, mixed together that can defeat both of you.
Okay, hold
Oh,
on.
man.
From
I have
age
something
of
to add.
two. From
I-
age of
I would-
two, they figured
I
you
would-
out.
I would
Because-
dare say though, the advantage I have, and Nessa, I've talked to you about this. My partner and I talk everything out. Like we don't. There's no version of like argue where you're just like butting heads. I will wait until because my partner is the type that needs a moment before she can discuss it, so I have to wait. But once she's ready to discuss it, we hash out the entire thing
Cool.
in a conversation.
Awesome.
So I would approach the same type of thing with the kid. Let's
But-
discuss.
As a child,
But you understand, the child has been with you since their infancy. She's in mom's 9 months. Whenever you guys have a disagreement, the child hears said disagreement and can learn how to analyze the both of you niggas. I'm not saying this as it like it's not possible. I'm saying that this is fact because Lilandra, as we speak right now, has just negotiated her way out of bedtime. Right? Because she heard cake before.
Yeah.
Motherfucker decides to, withstand eating food to leave more room for cake. So when we're like, well, no, you didn't eat dinner, you're not getting cake. Oh, yeah? You're going to hear these sirens cry. And listen, let me tell
What
you.
if you just eat the cake in front of her?
Yo, you eat the
That's what I
cake.
so would do.
Thank you,
That
John.
cake, I would
Like,
so eat
John,
it right
I'm
in
on the
front
same
of
page.
Cake. I finished my food. I get
I'm eating the cake
You
in
get
front of
cake?
you, and you're
You
not
want
getting
Who
cake.
wants cake? I want more.
No,
cake.
but you see, you eat the cake in front of them, and then like baby instinct of, oh, word, you want to mess with me. Then they start messing with your shit.
but
Then
it
they're,
also
then
has
they're
to
like,
do with-
oh, you like this vase, on the floor.
I'm
Oh, you
making
really
some
like this
trouble.
paint on the?
Oh,
You like
man.
how this food is not on the wall, right? On the wall, like legit. Don't do this. They'll look you dead in your face and
So
do
they're
this
cats.
shit with a smile.
They're cats.
They're
Like,
cats.
yeah, like Dave
Facts.
was saying. So maybe spraying them with the water bottle is the only way.
Yo, if you even
Let
get
that
to the
cat
point,
get bit. That's all I'm saying. like, let that cat
Oh,
get
yeah,
bit.
because Brian, it
Title
doesn't
of the
matter.
episode, let that cat get bit.
It doesn't matter
There
if you guys talk it out and you have great communication. You're still dealing with a child
Oh no, I know.
doesn't
Also,
understand.
who
who's
chooses
immature
when they
enough.
don't
I'm
understand.
challenging that last part.
they're all look who talking. They're like, look who's talking now. They're all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but they choose when they don't want to understand. They
So
Dave
straight
hit
up,
it. Dave
just
hit
to
us.
add on to what Skinny is saying. So you guys have met my boy Scott for sure. Maybe
Yeah.
not you yet, Janessa, but he's very much like Brian as well, like very, very exceptionally logical, and will like he's broken down people's arguments because of just pure like logic.
Mm.
To reiterate what Skinny's been saying about listening to things, watching them have an argument is one of the most entertaining things I have ever seen in my life, because he's stuck between a rock and himself.
Oh, his
Is how
kid?
she goes, how they go. It's like she has the Uno card for like every single. What was
Sorry,
it?
you're talking about his kid?
Like what Steve was talking about, how they are able.
No,
to
I know, but you're
listen
talking about his child. That's
his
what we're
child,
asking.
his actual
Yeah.
child. So
Yeah.
Okay.
she, like when they are having a discussion, dude,
Mhm.
like, because some people have gotten with my buddy, like, it's people will give up on the conversation because they'll be like, but like there's emotion, but there's this or that, and then he'll be like, no, like right's
Yeah.
right, you know, whatever.
Exactly. Scrap that. I don't
Scrap
need
that
emotion
shit,
in this,
like, or
this
any type
conversation.
of like
Love it.
any
Here
type of
for it.
like exterior motive that they are trying to bring into this or
Big
whatever, some way, he'll
Scott, I
destroy
love
that,
you.
right? But when you have your beautiful spawn that has now harnessed that energy and has
Yes.
paid attention to every single time mom
That
has
you-
won any single argument and incorporates that into like basically regurgitating, like it is Superman
I
versus like a red sun. It is ridiculous.
It's funny. Everything you're describing sounds like something I would enjoy, because I would be annoyed, but so fucking proud if I had a kid and my kid could debate on the level I could debate of.
You're proud that first time, nigga. After
Yeah,
5,
not
you're
after
done.
the
No.
I see this guy red
even
because he
if
can't
I'm
say what he wants to say.
Even if I'm frustrated, no matter what, I would still be proud that you are a decade ahead of where I was with my debate skills. Like, all I could think of in my head, if I had a child who could debate at my level as a child, I'd be like, ooh, they gonna be sorry they fucked with you in school, because you are not gonna let these teachers go. You are gonna be the most
Yeah, but it
annoying-
becomes a problem in the house. In the household.
You better teach him
you
how to
know?
throw a punch, because some other kids just like, that's oh, what were you gonna say? You got nothing. You got nothing.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Taekwondo is coming. It's gonna be there.
Ironically,
Taekwondo.
that girl actually
Shout out to my buddy Nick. I'm gonna be putting his
much
black
wind up.
belt to use teaching my kid.
Ironically, the
wind
girl
up
that
with
I'm
it.
talking about actually does like jujitsu and is
Oh,
like,
yeah,
on her
dude.
way to getting a black
Honestly,
belt. It's
Wow.
wild. It's wild.
Here's my thing. If you have a kid and you're gonna give your kid brains like that, be ready for them, like Jaws said, to get punched. So
Oh, yeah, 100%.
it's ballet and martial arts. I need you nimble and able to kick the out of somebody. That's what I'm planning.
All the facts for real.
Yeah, ballet and martial arts. Those are the two things. Day one, you're gonna be. You crawl, cool. You learn how to kick now. Do that back kick. Do that donkey kick. All right, there we go. First lesson in Taekwondo.
Jeez.
Take him to the mat, son. Take him to the mat. Little kid
Whoa.
crawling on the floor. Go for it.
But I'm telling you, man, you have to. It's either some form of fear or some form of like you have to. And again, I'm not saying again. This is my observation
Right.
for the ones that are difficult children. It's either fear or some form of they have to know that there's going to be repercussions, because if not,
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
that's
just
the
going
thing.
to do.
And being
And it's hard to
consistent
get
with
there.
that.
It's not an easy thing.
And Dave, I would dare say Charles Xavier understood that when he taught his kids,
yeah, a little too
as we
late,
saw-
though, huh?
as we saw in this last episode of X-Men 97. I think we're
I'm down to go. Tell me, when didn't you catch up? You said you were watching.
I was catching up, but I still have
Okay.
the last episode left.
okay. But I feel like that episode we don't have to go too deep into, because it's only part one, and I can tell that they're building up to. Well, I mean, Dave, not much happens. They get attacked.
A lot of cool things happen. A lot of cool things happen.
Yeah. So
A
what
lot
we
of
can
cool
say,
visual things happen.
yes,
That's
what we can say is we can talk about visuals. Nightcrawler fighting with 3 swords, using his tail to fight with the 3rd sword.
Tornado claw.
Straight
Night-
up.
Nightcrawler and Wolverine fighting the Sentinel together back to back, doing
Amazing.
almost going berserker with it. Then Nightcrawler pulling the Sentinel through his portal with Wolverine's claws in the fucking Sentinel, and the imagery of Wolverine going through this kind of like light tunnel, which I was a little disappointed, because is it not Nightcrawler who goes into like the demon dimension, or is that only Elena who does that when she
I think he
Teleport.
does.
Nightcrawler goes through the dimension, but it's super quick. It's
Yeah,
not
okay,
like
it's super
okay,
fast.
that's fair.
like he's
It's not
he's
like if you
in
remember
there
Skeleton Warriors where the guy actually has to run to the next portal, the next spot.
like
Okay.
if you've ever seen X-Men Evolution, they kind of break that down. Forge slows down. Oh, let's check out this dimension, and he brings back one of the demons from the dimension because he was in there too long and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's very
Okay,
quick
cool.
Yeah, because he does go there because I think that's how he gets the Bamps in the comic books.
because they
Right.
say when he comes out, it smells like brimstone.
Sulfur.
It's
Yeah.
it smells
and
like
that's why
sulfur.
there's like there is like residue
Smoke.
after he
Right, which is so when they showed that scene with him, Wolverine, and the guy, and instead of it being dark, it was just light the whole way. I was kind of confused because I was like, this isn't what I expected to see when Nightcrawler bamps between point A and point B.
But if he,
But
if he's going so because I felt that was supposed to be more from Wolverine's perspective. So if he's going so fast and he's not
okay,
taking his time, and we're going like split seconds because he's in a rush to get
right.
that scenario handled, right? Because he was doing a
That's
lot
fair.
in that.
Yeah, he
scenario.
moved a lot of
He moved a
so
lot of things.
there's a moment where they're in the hospital, not the hospital room, but in one of the wings of the school where Rogue is being taken care of because she still hasn't woken up from when she got attacked in the last episode. She's in the hospital bed, and all the Sentinels. So essentially, the story of this episode is just the Sentinels. The team has split up, and they've all gone on different group missions to do different things. Some of them are still in the house, but essentially Cyclops, Jean, and
Cable.
Scott and Cable, thank you, go off to investigate Bastion's like childhood home. They didn't know it was his childhood home, but they got some info, some intel. They go to that spot. They get there. They, for some reason, stupidly played along with the mom, which I thought was a bad idea. Like if I walk into my enemy's house,
you knew.
yeah, I mean,
I think they knew. They had to have known.
Yeah.
Like they didn't look like they were surprised. I think they were surprised by what
I want to
encountered
ask
them afterwards. But
yeah, I want to ask Janessa, who didn't watch the episode, if this makes sense. Janessa, if you walked in, let's say you have an enemy, and you get intel on your enemy's whereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
You get there, and the intel leads you to their mother's house, and the mother is just sitting on a couch and says, "Oh, my baby told me you were coming tomorrow. You're a day early. Let me go get my things," and starts acting like old grandma Medea and just walking around the house. What would you do? Would you think that's normal?
Abort.
Thank you.
would you help her get up off the couch?
Yeah, would you just walk?
Like, I'm sorry. I was like, what are you doing?
No.
No,
This is like the
is
movies
Is
where
it like Lethal Weapon 2 where the bomb is on the toilet seat, and if you get off the toilet seat, it's gonna blow up?
It wasn't that. It's just
I
that.
mean, it's pretty much like that. I felt like that was that.
Like, I mean, the fact that you're saying don't let her, are you gonna help her off the couch? I'm like,
no, essentially, it's don't help her because she's probably a bad guy. Like that's the thing.
You know what it was?
Okay.
You know how we've talked before about like horror movies, and you guys are always like disappointed about like how I don't want to say it like this way. I don't know how other way to pronounce it, but like the token black guy gets got because like a thing, like, you know, they're like,
Yeah,
why
there's a formula
are you doing,
to
like,
horror
why
stories.
are you
Right.
doing like
But that's
there's
part of
always-
the horror.
yeah,
formula.
but like that's that moment for me. I was like, what are you
Yes.
doing?
It's true. That was one of those movies. That was one of those moments where you're watching, you're just like, why would you help the mother of the man who's trying to murder you?
Why would you even step in her direction? Why would you let her? Why would you walk through the house without her in your view?
Yeah, you leave her alone. Like you don't think she might be setting off a bomb, setting up
She's
guns, like,
getting her things. Like that to me was like she's getting a weapon.
the fact that one of the three of them didn't think I'll stay with her while you two go explore made me feel so upset because I was just like, oh, you're dumb. Oh, we're playing this.
I'm assuming
I thought we were seeing more Gambit. That's what I thought.
I'm assuming that Wolverine was not part of that team.
No, because you're right. Wolverine can usually sniff out stupidity.
It's either Wolverine sniffs it out, or he was in military. He's in Black Ops. If his mind isn't all messed up and he doesn't remember, blah blah blah. But he'd be like, wait a minute, no, keep eyes on her.
So that's it. When we see the team split up, essentially, I say split up, but they weren't really split up because Wolverine, Morph, and Nightcrawler are in the house. Beast is downstairs with his girlfriend, the one Skinny's always telling us about, the reporter chick.
Yeah.
And when Beast goes, oh, yo, I think I can reprogram Cerebro to find the energy signatures for these Sentinels instead of mutants. And as soon as Homeboy flips it, you saw the scene, Skinny, or you what?
I saw the scene. I just want to, because for those who watched it, okay. When did you guys get to the part with Magneto?
No, we didn't talk about that yet.
We're
Okay.
trying to. I think we're
No,
trying to.
yeah,
spoiler
that part we might actually not. Yeah, that part we're actually not going to talk about.
I will just say, pay attention to the people that reacted to what happened. It goes to Japan. It shows Russia.
Oh
it
yeah,
shows
yeah.
other
Yeah.
places.
Oh, I paid attention.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
saying
know that.
there's a Sunfire, there's a Colossus, and somebody said to me my X-Men at the end. I'm gonna just
that
say
was not Sunfire, my friend.
Silver Samurai's in Japan where, dude? Who's also in Japan?
Oh yeah, but you didn't. Sorry, no. You said if you saw him, he was.
Yeah,
not.
we didn't see him, but you're
no,
saying
I'm not saying you saw it. You see where they're at. Silver Samurai, Japan, Sunfire, Omega Red, Russia, Colossus.
right.
Somebody said at the end to me, my X-Men, we're rounding the troops. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying that we're gonna get the whole team, like the extended team is gonna show up now.
Mad niggas are down.
Yeah,
People are down.
Yeah.
People are
I
knocked
love
out.
that you said mad niggas are down for X-Men United. That is fantastic. You know how when I remember thinking once upon a time when we started this show back in 2017, I was just like, there's not enough black nerd shows out there the way that I wish there were. And only in a black nerd show can you correlate Charles Xavier calling out to all the mutants, like, to me, my niggas, like, we
That
rolling
might
up
be an
gang,
episode title. Ninja Vanish.
Yeah. But yeah, so the episode is pretty good. I thought it was fantastic. It was really good. And again, Dave, I think the thing that we were both trying to avoid spoiling too much, so many good action shots. Like
100%.
Wolverine and Nightcrawler,
Oh, yeah.
Cyclops, Jean, and Cable. That end to the thing they do is a little cheesy because it's reminiscent of 80s action movies where it's like they land, like, no joke, Janessa, full on. The three of them like land and the explosions behind them, and they go, and they don't.
It's James Bond. It's a James Bond / Rambo.
Yeah,
insert
the explosion
Schwarzenegger
behind them, and the three of them just kind of like
chilling.
Yeah, we got this. We're so cool right now. Like it's like
chest
oh
up,
my
tits
God.
out. Like
Everyone was feeling themselves in that moment. I like the
the Summers line of like, let's see whether they could mess with the Summers. I was like,
God, yeah. Like there was so many of my friends. I remember one time being on a road trip and Cyclops came into conversation, and my friends just ripped into why Cyclops is such a dork and a Boy Scout, and why they don't love him. And finally, I showed them scenes from the first episode of Cyclops fighting, and they put a little respect on his name. And I was like, yes. And then this episode, when he made all those cheesy jokes, I was just like, no, nigga, no, stop being cheesy. You're gonna roll it back 2 steps.
But that's what
He's
Cyclops is.
kind of he is a little cheesy.
No, but that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the badass dad. That is only the badass when we're against the wall. None of you, all of you failed. Great. Now I'm just gonna take off my visor and scorch the earth. Like that's what he is.
It's like great. I have to use my tactical brain and pinball this like Captain America's shield with my eyes. All right.
Yeah.
Because he does have that. That is actually one of his.
All right, boom. Okay, I got this.
That's one of his latent mutant abilities that people don't necessarily. He actually has the mutant ability of perfect. I guess triangulation is the word. I don't know.
Like angles and stuff.
Yeah, like it's not like, oh, he's got a good shot. No, he naturally has the ability to know exactly
the angle.
He could be in a room with his arms like this, and if the angle exists that he could shoot the things off his arms, he can.
Okay, cool.
Right. But there's one thing that there was a disappointment about the episode, but I can't. Okay. Oh, sorry.
I'll let you finish.
A personal disappointment. No, I can't because it would be spoiler-ish for Janessa. So I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Because they talk about events, and because of those events, there's something that it removes a thing that.
I mean,
happen.
I've been hearing spoilers the past couple of weeks on the pod. So.
Okay,
I mean, but you're only 1 episode behind. That's why.
I don't. I could wait till next week to say it.
Yeah,
because it will also potentially be my premonition to what might happen at the end of the season.
Cool. Yeah, I will say solid ending too. Like honestly, I really look forward to people watching this episode because that was a really, really cool ending. The conversation where it's just like he really did it. What? saved us all. No, declared war. I was just like, damn, I don't think that's a declaration of war. I feel like trying to murder all of us was a declaration of war. I feel like us just being like, hey, we got to protect ourselves and shut you down was a declaration of please stop punching us. Like,
but you know what's funny? It's because of what he did, just like without saying what he did.
Right.
The concept that he said, like, enough.
Yeah.
It brought me right to when he was like with the UN, like when we brought the UN into outer space, and he's like, don't press my hand. He's like, well, all right. That's it.
Yeah. Essentially, you're at a point now where Magneto said, don't make me show you what I can do. Essentially. And we're now at a point where he's like, nigga, I told you don't make me. I told you not to make me.
I thought he was going to do something else.
Oh,
cool. Good.
Yeah. Janessa, it's gonna be good. Honestly, watch it. When you have a chance, check out the episode.
What?
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Oh boy.
We just got a comment: Alien or Predator? How about we save that because we do want to talk about Monkey Man. I don't know if you guys have seen Monkey Man, Janessa. I know you
want to hear all. I want to hear all about it.
All right.
I don't mind. Spoil it up.
I definitely want to see it. But
I'm assuming it's
willing to hear about it.
It's not about action as much as sorry. It's not about story as much. Is about action. So
actually, well, I'll give my 2 cents. I would say there is a story to it. It's a pretty solid story.
But I mean, like John Wick 1 had a story, but it was still basic.
No. This one has more story than Wick.
Okay.
Like I would say that Monkey Man. I'll say it this way: they tried to give us a sense of a deeper meaning and purpose than John Wick, is what I should say.
Yeah.
And one of the things that one of my only complaints about the film, because I have to say, for a movie that starred and directed by Dev Patel, very good. It's very rare that I see a movie that has a director and the lead actor, and at the end, I'm just like, I enjoyed this movie. I don't feel like it lacked in his direction, and I don't feel like he like called in any of his performance because he was, tired or having to direct scenes. The man put in 100 on both ends, and when you watch the movie, that's what you get. You get someone who put their all into doing both jobs very well, and
he wrote it too.
Yeah. Oh my God. So right. My only thing was
there's a better room.
Yeah.
It's a what?
There's a movie called The Room. It's like probably the absolute worst movie.
Oh, The Room. I've seen it. Yes.
It's absolutely trash.
Terrible.
Horrible. But I'm saying this is a good version of The Room, like because the guy in The Room also wrote and did all the things
significantly better than The Room. But so there's one thing that, and my buddy who I saw the movie with, him and I were discussing it while we were walking back to his office from the movie, and they kept using the flashbacks as a means to kind of give us his motivation, which was fine. And I'm okay with the flashbacks, but when you do the flashbacks and also have a cathartic moment on like a kind of drug induced deep, like kind of like an ayahuasca trip. You know how people describe like ayahuasca trips where it's like you take something, you meditate, and you go into yourself and deal with the trauma, and then you come out the other end. If you're gonna give me the hints of what happened throughout the whole movie, I don't need a full ayahuasca trip, because then it felt like I didn't either give me the ayahuasca trip or give me the splashes. I don't need both, because it felt like a hat on a hat. Like it felt like repetition. By the time I got to the ayahuasca trip or whatever that flower that they blow into his face was, I was kind of like, yeah, I already understood this, and this happened. The only part I didn't see was the exact moment that this person dies that's important to him.
Oh, you're saying the flashbacks leading up to that was repetitive?
Yes, because if you already gave me the flashbacks, I already knew his motivations for everything. And throughout the whole film, you see him targeting one person specifically.
Yeah.
So you get a sense of like, okay, this person did this thing to this person in his life. Got you. He was very young. Got you. He now has a revenge tip and he wants to take revenge on these people. Understood. And then we go through this whole movie, and then we get to a moment where someone drugs him consensually to let him go on this spiritual trip, and he goes through the spiritual trip, and the spiritual trip is the exact same story again. It's all the flashbacks as one thing now, and it goes into detail, and then you have this great cathartic moment for him. But ultimately, when I was watching it, I was just like, but you didn't need to give me both of those, in my opinion.
Well, I feel like the reason they did that was because maybe he didn't fully remember why he was after him. Like, I feel like this is just my take on it.
Yeah.
I do agree that it was a lot of repetition, but I feel like what he was trying to say was that he has bits and pieces and memories of what happened to his
Right.
mom.
Yeah,
but
because
he
he was a
couldn't.
child. So
Yeah, but he was a child, and he just couldn't put all the pieces together. He just knew that he was after this person because something. I mean, I'm sure he knows that for whatever reason, his mom, something happened, but maybe
Yeah.
he didn't understand fully what exactly happened. I don't
Yeah.
know. So then him going on that trip was kind of like I was there and I've seen everything and blah 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 blah. I don't know.
Right.
That's just my take. But it was a bit repetitive because a lot of the flashbacks seem like the same exact scene
Oh my god.
over and
Multiple
over again.
times.
Yeah.
Every time. Like
Yeah.
him as a child standing with flames around him was used multiple times throughout the film.
Yeah.
And him looking through the cracks and seeing the name on the badge of the guy, every time he saw the
right.
guy, he would see the flash of that moment. And I was just like, okay. But so that's the thing. If it was only the flashes throughout the film, I think I would have been okay. It's the fact that he then goes on the ayahuasca style trip and does the entire scene of everything that happened again. I was like, Jesus Christ, guys. Like, you don't have to
I guess
tell
to
us.
put all the pieces together.
Yeah, because you know what it felt like to me, and I said this to my buddy, and he said the same thing too in the theater, but I didn't even realize at the time when he said it. It felt like I was watching a Batman movie retelling the death of the parents.
Oof.
Like, that's one of the things in Batman. Every time they do the origin of Batman, they do the death in the alleyway, and they do it. They've done it 3-4 times at this point. And when I was watching that movie, it felt like it almost felt like they did 3-4 times the death of the parents in the alleyway, but in one movie.
yeah, I get it.
That's a
Because I
lot.
think the thing is too is like it's not even like you're surprised by the time that happens because you already know based off of like the 1 or 2 flashbacks in the beginning. You're like, oh, okay, something happened to his mom.
Yes.
Like, and you already know it's a revenge story, so you're like, for sure something happened. We just don't know what exactly happened, but we know somehow she passes away.
Right.
So it's like you're not surprised by the time it happens. By the time you see it all, you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you're like,
yeah, honestly, it's funny that Dave does that because in the theater, when I saw the scene of how she dies, I was kind of just like, all right, yeah, she dies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, we knew she dies. They're just showing us how she dies, I guess.
And I felt, and unfortunately, and I think this is the thing that bothered me the most, it felt like it diminished her death because when I watched that scene, I already know she's dead. My reaction wasn't like, oh no, that's so sad. It was more just like, okay, that's how she died. Morbid.
Yeah, that's true.
So honestly, it's kind of like when you know a character. It's I don't want to be like this, but it's like when Jason Momoa is talking to what's his name in the first Dune movie, and they're like super excited and he's happy. He seems like, oh, you can't go on the mission with me, and you're like, well, dude, I know you're gone. Like I know this is gonna happen. So like when it happens, you're like, don't know, it was cool how it happened, but you're like, yeah,
the difference is. Yeah, the difference with what you're describing is that was telecast throughout. Like, they did enough things to set up that you knew this was happening. With her situation, it was multiple instances of them introducing her death into his backstory and then still showing you her death. Like, you don't know that what's his name? Duncan Idaho.
Yeah, you don't know he's gonna die.
Yeah, you don't see his death. But you eventually get to his death.
They foreshadow it. Yeah.
You foreshadow that, oh, he's telling you can't come. You're like, oh, damn, this dude's going to die. In her case, it's, hey, this is her dead. By the way, this is her dead. By the way, this is her dead. By the way, this is her dead. And you're like,
oh, this is how she dies. Sorry. I forgot to get
like I couldn't. It'd be like seeing Bruce at his parents' estate, seeing a flashback of you seeing Pearl's dying, and then all of a sudden, like starting to walk down the alleyway
dude,
for like
honestly,
20 minutes.
You're watching you're watching Batman, and it's every time Batman fights a villain, they show you the parents, like flashes of the parents dying in the alleyway, and then they still at the end Scarecrow
but not the
hits
full thing.
not the full thing, but then
Just,
Scarecrow
like,
hits
bits
him
and
with the
pieces.
gas. Yeah, Scarecrow hits him with the gas in the like early part of the third act. Scarecrow hits him, and he relives the whole death again. And you're like, "Got you. We get it." And
That's the thing. They could have sorry. I was gonna say they could have just showed us the whole thing at the beginning, because you already know it's a revenge story and that he's after someone because of something that happened to his mom. Like, you already know at the beginning, so they should have just showed the whole thing.
Yeah,
at the beginning.
That, or again, I haven't seen the movie. I'm just like saying, or it should have been one of those things where he's having an emotional moment, where you guys are having an emotional moment in the fighting moments, where then they put it at the same time to up that moment of actual, like, example. Let's say he's about.
There's a lot of fighting moments.
No, but I mean, like, let's say, for example, and this might be a cliche, maybe this is why he didn't do it. I'm assuming that the guy who ultimately kills the mom gets killed. So, assuming that happens, while he's killing that person, to show the parallel of the mom dying at the same time.
Oh, at the same time.
So you're getting like his anger and rage, and even though he's killing, you're not getting enough.
And spoilers, because unfortunately you hit the nail on the head. When he kills a guy, they still flash back to the mom again.
Did they?
Yes, remember he sees the bloody hand and he's picturing the guy choking.
Oh, right.
You get another flashback after they've done flashbacks throughout the whole movie.
Maybe
they've done the ayahuasca style trip. You get another scene of them.
I didn't realize it was so much.
Dude, honestly, it was the only thing when I left the movie that I was like, this movie is great, except for how many times they use the flashback of the mother's death. It's
I didn't
just
realize.
so much.
That's so. I don't want to be like this, but maybe Mr. Patel was going through some shit and he couldn't really. Maybe this is his. Maybe he's actually right. He was going through something personally that he was just writing it into the movie.
Well, I do agree with Brian that I think he wanted to make it a bit more deeper than just a revenge story.
That's what it felt like.
But at the same time, it's like it's not an original story. It's something that has been done thousands of times before,
and we love seeing it.
Yeah, and everyone loves a good revenge story, but it's
I
just
remember I was telling everybody, they were trying to make all these Punisher movies and they weren't doing well. And I was like, well, they've already made a bunch of Punisher movies that just not called The Punisher.
Yeah. Peppermint, for example, with what's her name? Peppermint with the Electra, Jennifer, what's her last name?
Jennifer Gardner?
Jennifer Gardner. The movie Peppermint is the Punisher movie, but just with a woman.
Like there's Death Wish, there's Peppermint,
there's so many
there's
of
A Man
them.
Apart, there's
so many of them. It's crazy. I love one of the things I'll say this: Dev Patel, fantastic in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I always mispronounce this dude's name. Sharlto Copley, the guy that was in what's his name? Something 9, the alien movie.
District 9.
District 9. Yeah. He was great, even though he got second bill and he's not in the movie anywhere near as much as the other actors, which bothered me a little bit at the end. I was a little upset about the treatment of the side character, the sidekick, or at least
who?
You know, the guy that has the limp and sells the coke. The guy who owns the motorcycle.
I'm sorry.
A guy who I don't remember. Sorry.
The coke dealer who rides the motorcycle, who works with him. He tells that guy, "I want to get a promotion."
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So like that guy's I almost wish they didn't give that guy a backstory, because they give you a backstory for him. They put him in a situation where his life is in danger, and then they never close that story off.
Oh, right.
Yeah. when I was watching the movie and it got to the end, the one thing I thought was,
sorry, because I seen it like a few weeks ago, so I'm putting all the pieces back together.
I literally saw it like 3 hours ago, so I've definitely but it just I remember seeing, like, I found that character interesting, And I remember that character doing something that I thought was very foolish in a moment. And I was just like, that was a mistake. It's going to come and bite him in the ass. And then, but it doesn't, because ultimately they just kind of sidestep him because he's not there for the rest of the story. And you're like, but wait, what happened to his life?
I think I guess he was just there to aid, like to assist
Right.
Dev Patel's character to advance his
right. Yeah. At the beginning, his relationship is what gets Dev, like, he's like skips steps, because essentially the story of the movie is Dev realizes that the people he wants to get revenge on work in this exclusive club.
Yeah.
And they have, much like the in the Batman, where there's like different levels and essentially you go down. In this place, you go up. So every level up is like more exclusive than the last level.
Yeah.
And then so Dev is trying to get from the kitchen essentially to the top floor so that he can, you know, in true climb. Yeah. And when you're watching the movie, Dev makes an alliance with a guy who already works on one of the top floors so that he can get access to that floor. But then that character is used as a leapfrog for Dev to kind of just skip ahead and get a promotion in the organization. And then he does something later on where he aligns himself with Dev's character when he didn't need to, but that ultimately bites him in the ass. And then they just don't tell you what happens to him for the rest of the movie. Like, you get one scene of him running and seeing the news.
Oh yeah.
And then that's it. The next time you see him in a crowd, and that's it. You never see him again. You don't find out what happens to him. You don't know if he's still wanted. You don't know if that's it. And I just remember thinking, but that's an unfortunate thing, because you didn't need to build or introduce this character. Like, you could have just used this character to leapfrog, but then just cut your ties with him there. Like, when you see him run off at one point, just show him run. You never have to show him again. You could just show that he was a coward, because that's what a coward would do. He would have just run off and be like, hey man, I'm not in on this, and disappears. But instead they kept going back to him to now give you a closure with his character.
But for a revenge story, I really thought it was done well. And I think I love the way it was. Sorry?
Did you feel it was lazy though? Because you did say you felt like the story's been done before.
No, I don't think it was lazy. No, I just think that's what a revenge story is.
Oh, just in general, revenge stories.
She was saying like, yeah, like, make it deeper, but it's like, it's a revenge story. Like, it's okay.
I get it.
Yeah, like there's only a revenge story can only go so deep. Like it's like there's always a motive and anyways, but my point was, it's nothing original. That's what I was trying to say, is that if any revenge story that you get, it's not going to be like an original idea, because it's just a revenge story. But I think it was executed really well, and I thought it was shot very well.
Yes,
I really, really loved the scenes in like the ring when he has the mask, the monkey mask on. Those were like top tier. I don't even. I mean, I think I understood that the mask was kind of like, I don't know if it was symbolizing something exactly.
Well, the mask was a nod to Hanuman, right? Because like the mom tells the story, and even shout outs to Black Panther, because we've heard the name Hanuman before. That's the name that M'Baku.
That's the monkey tribe.
Yeah, the monkey tribe,
ape tribe.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool to hear that name for me, because I was like, oh, like Black Panther, African story, like Hanuman was an actual thing. Even in India, Hanuman's a thing. I was like, oh, cool, that's so interesting that this is a important character to Indian lore.
Yeah, which I understand there was like there's a meaning behind that, but I meant more like, why was he wearing it? Did it mean something else when he was in the ring? Because I don't know. They kept showing that, like, because he was losing every time he would fight in the ring, and I guess he was doing that to train. Yeah,
I think that. Well, first of all, what's his name? District 9 homie, Copley.
Yeah,
he was using Dev playing King Kong, because he would call him Kong.
Oh yeah, true.
And I don't know if you noticed, but all the names of the other wrestlers were the names from the Jungle Book.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, so the guy that he fights Baloo, he fights Shere Khan, and he fights King Cobra. So he fights like 3 avatars for the Jungle Book story, or like, sorry, I shouldn't say Jungle Book. I should say classical, what I believe to be classical South Asian, like characters of like jungle lore. Because Shere Khan, I know, is not just only used in Jungle Book. I've heard that name used in other lores referring to the tiger in the jungle in South Asia. But it was cool to see. So that's the thing. I think Copley's character was having him play the ape to all these other important characters, and he was supposed to lose because at the beginning he's being paid and he's told, if you bleed, you get more. And he's just like, if you're not bleeding, I'm only going to pay you half. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So later on, one of the things that happens, and like you said, like those fights were great, especially at the end when he comes back and he's just like, okay, I'm going to be the great ape now. And he starts to kick ass as the ape.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is fantastic.
I wish he kept it on,
King
though.
Louis.
Yeah, King Louis, yeah. But the only thing that I found weird was I didn't really understand, and I'm guessing he did this because he was trying to look more like Hanuman. He bleaches the mask. And
yeah, he does.
Yeah, I know that bleach was an important thing because the name he gives the sidekick when he asked him his name was Bobby, and that's the name on the can of bleach. It's Bobby's bleach. So it's not even his real name. He just gave him that name as like, because the guy's like, what's your name? And he wouldn't answer. And then it's kind of like what's that movie? Usual Suspects. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna give you something that's on the wall in the back behind you.
Yeah.
So he says, my name's Bobby, and then they keep panning to him cleaning the floors and it says Bobby's bleach, and I was like, got you. He's using that name. But I didn't understand why he bleached the mask, because it's a black mask. He dunks it in bleach, he pulls it out, and then it's white, and then he wears the bleach version of the mask to fight. And I was like, what is this for? I don't, but you know.
Yeah, they didn't really explain that part.
Yeah, there's
maybe because he was wearing it in the ring.
Oh, and he didn't want to be recognized?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I would assume that's why he's wearing the mask to not be recognized.
But I mean, yeah. Sorry, Janessa.
No, I was just gonna say the fighting scenes though. I thought the choreography was really good, and I love that Dev Patel did all the stunts himself.
Yep,
busted up his feet. Tom Cruise did.
Yeah,
he Tom Cruise did. I mean, it wasn't as crazy as some of Tom Cruise's stunts, but he did everything himself. And I was reading about the movie, and he actually broke his hand during training for fighting for the movie. Yeah.
Oh, is that why it's wrapped so much in the movie? Because there's a lot of times where he has his hand wrapped, and I was just like, is that because he's? I mean,
do you think?
There's something about his hands in the movie that's significant as to why he wraps his hands. That's explained storyline.
Well, they didn't say it was during the movie. I just read that during training because he was training fighting for the movie and stuff, and that he broke his hand.
Homie got fit.
I know. Crazy.
He got fit.
You know the picture. Is it Da Vinci who has the man in the circle? Where it's just
Vitruvian Man.
Yes, thank you.
I think,
and then
I could be mispronouncing it, but I think it's.
And then at one point on that image, the shoulder, it shows the muscle as the muscles connect from the shoulder to the arm. There's one point where Dev is holding up buckets of water, and you see the muscle as if there was no skin. Like his muscle is so defined, it looks like he's just a Da Vinci painting of muscle. And I was just like, dude, how much training did you do for this movie?
He got ripped.
Insane. Like, Kumail Nanjiani did his thing for Eternals, but then was never shirtless, so never really understood why. But at least Dev did his training and was just like, no, this is what a South Asian slim, fit man can look like. And then just popped on the screen and all and when he took his shirt off at one point and all the women started oohing, I was just like, these girls, I'm here for it. Good for you, Dev. You did the work, buddy.
Yeah, you could tell he worked hard on it.
Buddy.
He did, man. He put that work in because Helping was
good
fit.
for him.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much everything I had to say for the movie. And unfortunately, we ran long because we did X-Men, we did child rearing, and we did Monkey Man. I don't know why. What? 20% of our podcast is parents. only 20%, but we did a 40-minute conversation about child rearing. So hopefully our opinions will help you out there. And if you're a parent yourself and have opinions on the subject, please get in the comments. We actually would love to learn more. If we sounded ignorant, please do tell us. If you agree with some of our tactics, do you agree with Dave?
I learned that no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
we're all winging it. Every
Dave,
parent for the last
That's
ever.
facts, for sure.
Dave said to spray your child with a water bottle. Are you okay with that?
I just said apply the cat.
Pressure.
Cats don't teach us much, but I've seen a cat who nips get introduced to one cat, and it took that one cat nipping back for that cat to not do it again to anybody. So they're like, that is a lesson.
That's a lesson learned.
A lesson somewhere in this. I just have to figure out how to apply it in a sane,
have another kid, let that kid bite the other.
Yeah. Law of the jungle. Let one kid bite the other, and they all learn the lessons.
Modern problems require modern solution.
Straight up, bro. Straight up. Not even playing.
I'll read the headlines for our geek news. We won't have a chance to go through them, but if you want to look them up, I'll try and add them into the description for the episode. The Rock causes an increase of at least $50 million for the film Red One budget with his lateness. I'm wondering if he's leaning into his heel persona a little too much, but that's for you guys to figure out.
No, that was before that.
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe, baby. Ashley Crystal Hairston, who is the voice of Jessica on Craig of the Creek, is voicing Hazel Wells on the reboot of Fairly Odd Parents. She's going to be the new child for that they're the godparents for. Speaking of Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider is suing the Quiet on Set producers for defamation after it was implied that he may have been inappropriate with kids on set. Dan, fuck you. That's pretty much all we have to say. Like, seriously, fuck you. Like, dude, just fuck off, go away, leave everyone alone. No one wants you. Just stay in the abyss of the oblivion. You are worse than Harmon right now. Just go away.
He's trying to apply the tip just a bit rule. Like, what is it? Like,
he's being stupid. Like, the documentary is people talking about their bad experiences, and he's wants to sue them for. It's a documentary. These people weren't forced to say these things. No one was asked to lie. And
he's just mad that people outed him.
Exactly. So then
it's how when bad people do bad things, that's what they usually do, right?
Exactly. And then if you guys want to check out some cool trailers, we have the Mufasa, the Lion King, which is a prequel to the live action film that came out a couple years ago. We have The Big Cigar, which is a story of Huey Newton. P. Newton, of the Black Panther movement. And
it's
then we
almost
have
like it's Argo, but with him instead.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So Argo,
and then we have
Black people.
And then we have Senna, the official Netflix teaser trailer drop. So those are all the things. Unfortunately we didn't get to discuss them, but go check out all the things. That's it, guys. That's the whole show. It's always a pleasure, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of GeekCypha. Make sure you check out on Saturday. There'll be another episode, throwback episode on our Twitch. That's twitch.tv/GeekCypha. And also we are archiving those episodes on YouTube as well. So if you go over to youtube.com/@GeekCypha, we have a separate GeekCypha page where all those episodes are archived. It's going to be like a podcast type archive that they have over there on the YouTube, so you can go check that out. And as always, you can always check out our stuff at our new website, which we built, and it's very nice. GeekCypha.com. Guys, that's the whole show. We're out. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I have to find the button.
Enjoy Free Comic Book Day / Star Wars Day / happy anniversary, baby. I'll say that out as well.
Hey. That's a nice one.
Brownie points. Brownie points.
Smart man. After you said you're going to spray the kids, you might need to do that.
Yeah.